Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everyone.
So here we are in Hyde Park.
Yeah.
As you can see, it's so beautiful. So beautiful.
It's a live production of Swan Lake, because there's swans and there's a lake. So if you know, you know.
And go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we did start this yesterday.
We did indeed, and we were off to a great start.
But someone didn't...
right near the London Eye.
Someone didn't, charge the, microphones again.
So we're going to cut away to the beginning of that. And
right here.
All right. So it's Canto 3, Chapter 24, Text 45. He thus became liberated from conditioned life and became self-situated in transcendental devotional service to the personality of Godhead Vasudeva, the omniscient soul within everyone.
So that was him.
That was us.
Yeah.
But it was me. I messed up because I think when I was reading in Paris, I must have forgot to turn one of the mics off when I put it away. So the battery went dead very quickly. And we read for 20 minutes, which was glorious, and discussed. But now we're going to read it again because you wouldn't have been able to hear any of it. So there's no harm in reading again.
We just jogged here, by the way.
That's why we're wearing our
cash.
Hare Krishna runners gear.
Hare Krishna runners. I'll put a link in the description box if you want any of our merch. It's not like our merch personally, it's a running club. Just so you know.
Yeah, but we have a running club.
Yeah, we have a running club called the Hare Krishna Runners.
Yeah, so if
and
you're
it's
a
got
runner,
a Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and there you go.
Yeah, so that's a plug. All right.
Hare Krishnas who run.
Okay. So we're
not just from our problems. That's a joke, by the way.
She's on form this morning, boys and girls. Okay.
Yeah.
So here we go. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
I'm just reading from the phone because we ran here, so I didn't want to run with the book.
But I still managed to run with my iPad.
No, because I'm like a serious runner.
Yeah, exactly.
Alright, what is this? Verse 25 again.
Well, no. It's Canto 3, Chapter 24. Chapter is entitled The Renunciation of Kardama Muni.
Yes.
And we're reading, that's chapter 24, and we're reading text 45, and this will be the last.
25.
This will be the last 3 verses of this chapter, and then we'll be moving on to a new book. And yesterday she actually showed how she finished her the blue volume of the Bhagavatam. Yeah. Okay. So maybe she'll put that here now and show.
Yeah, because maybe she's got time to do all that. Yeah, I'll just put some dancing girls in the back and everything.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Okay, let's read.
He thus became liberated from conditioned life and became self-situated in transcendental devotional service to the personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, the omniscient supersoul within everyone. When one engages in the transcendental devotional service of the Lord, one becomes aware that his constitutional position as an individual soul is to be eternally a servitor of the Supreme Lord Vasudeva. Self-realization does not mean that because the Supreme Soul and the individual soul are both souls, they are equal in every respect. The individual soul is prone to be conditioned, and the Supreme Soul is never conditioned. When the conditioned soul realizes that he is subordinate to the Supreme Soul, his position is called Labdhyatma. Self-realization or Mukta Bandhana. Freedom from material contamination. Material contamination continues as long as one thinks that he is as good as the Supreme Lord or is equal with him. This condition is the last snare of Maya. Maya always influences the conditioned soul, even after much meditation and speculation. If one continues to think himself one with the Supreme Lord, it is to be understood that he is still in the last snares of the spell of Maya.
last snare of Maya, that we begin to think ourselves one with the Supreme Lord. So there are many philosophies, I think Prabhupada will speak about that discuss, that has this as their goal. It's one thing. But any other thoughts? You shared some.
Well, I was saying yesterday how I always read this because Prabhupada, it's a common theme. I don't mean in a rude way, but yeah, to think you're God, to become one or this. And I said yesterday, it went up and over my head because, I don't think I'm God. I'm brought up in a certain, but I'm a Hindu background and this, and it's a concept who God is, which is Krishna, like this. And so, but I was sharing that actually, to the extent that I'm not giving, credit to things that I'm doing to God, because do I always think of Krishna? Am I always Krishna conscious? Like when I'm not miserable, as it were. And to the degree that I'm not constantly giving credit, then I must think, well, I did it. I must have done it. Because who else did it?
Yeah.
And so that is a subtle way of thinking. You're subtly controlling. Subtly, I may not think in a gross way, I'm God, I'm good, but subtly we think like that because we don't give the credit, the humility or whatever, gratitude, and that isn't there.
Yeah, very nice point. Okay, the word parena is very significant. Para means transcendental, untinged by material contamination. Full consciousness that one is an eternal servant of the Lord is called Bhava Bhakti. If one has any identification with material things and executes devotional service for attainment of some material gain, that is Vida Bhakti, contaminated Bhakti. One can actually become liberated by execution of Para Bhakti. Yeah, so this term Vida Bhakti, it's kind of the first time I'm hearing it. And also just came to mind now that, can bhakti really be contaminated? Of course, bhakti in and of itself is pure, I suppose, but what's contaminated is the living entity who's performing the bhakti. Of course, Prabhupada here is saying Vidha Bhakti is contaminated bhakti. And Lord Kapila Dev, whom we're reading about now, we're reading about his father, but we're reading about in general, he'll describe later how bhakti or devotional service can be performed under the influence of the modes of material nature. So, but still, as far as I've understood, the bhakti itself is pure. It's just that the person performing the service is influenced by the modes of material nature. So therefore, it may have contrary results to what we would hope for or expect. Like that.
Another word mentioned here is sarvagya. The super soul sitting within the heart is all cognizant. He knows. I may forget my past activities due to the change of body, but because the Supreme Lord as Paramatma is sitting within me, he knows everything. Therefore, the result of my past karma or past activities is awarded to me. I may forget, but he awards me suffering or enjoyment for the misdeeds or good deeds of my past life. One should not think that he is freed from reaction because he has forgotten the actions of his past life. Reactions will take place, and what kind of reactions there will be is judged by the super soul, the witness.
Thoughts?
Yeah, we were just saying that what was it, like, I was saying that we enter this material world, I felt like on an equal footing as far as you enter with what you deserve. It may not look equal to the externally, because race, gender, depending on where you're born, can be an issue. Obviously money, economic situation, parents and this, but still you came in with what you went out with last time, if that makes any sense. No one's like you could fiddle books. I'm not saying I did this ever, and you can like get dull money or no, you can get stuff and that, and what you're not deserving, and people become rich, or people through crooked means or famous or whatever. Don't work like that in God's law. You know, the law of karma. What you went out with last time, you'll come back with this time, and not a penny more, not a penny less.
Yeah, so in that sense it's equal. My kind of comment on that is that although on a spiritual platform it's equal, but on the material platform people proclaim that, you know, I think one of the first lines of the American Constitution is, or there's a statement somewhere that all men are created equal. Which in one sense, as Bhava Bhakti was just saying, on the spiritual platform, yes, it's true. But on the material platform, everyone's born with different disabilities or gifts or karmic challenges, different things like that. So it isn't exactly that everyone starts with an equal footing. Someone who's born in a wealthy family, or someone who's born into poverty, someone may be born with good health or ill health. So they start off disadvantaged, some in certain ways. Now, who's to say what's more of a disadvantage? That's a whole different conversation. But that was kind of my point, that it's we all come in with our karma. That's for sure, and it's equal in that sense that we all get exactly what we deserve. But at the same time, what we're getting and what we deserve means that we're not exactly all on the same platform. Like, one man can't expect to become a great artist when he has no interest or inclination or capacity or ability to see that swan there?
Just disappeared into my head and came out the other end.
Yeah, when someone doesn't have the capacity or ability to do any art at all. So, in this way. But it's also important to recognize that the super soul is the judge. Ultimately, Krishna is going to make the decision, and we just need to endeavor. And some things he may dictate or determine are our what's due to us, and some things may not be. Just like the first verse of Sri Upanishad, Ishavasham idam sarvam, that one should not take more than one's quota. Someone was asking me the other day, how do I know what my quota is? And I said, well, don't worry, Krishna will make sure you know that. Because you'll get what you get, and you won't get what you don't deserve, you know?
Not qualified,
Yeah, so like that.
Yeah.
Go to 46. There's another.
Yeah, can you see that one?
There's a gathering of the Hamsas to hear the Paramahamsa Purana.
Is it you?
No.
Oh.
I don't think so.
He began to see that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is seated in everyone's heart, and that everyone is situated on him. Because he is the super soul of everyone. That everyone...
Maybe it was me, but it's okay.
Yeah, it was you, but never mind. I started, so I'll finish. If you know that line, you know it. That everyone is existing on the Supreme Personality of Godhead does not mean that everyone is also Godhead. This is also explained in Bhagavad Gita. Everything is resting on him, the Supreme Lord, but that does not mean that the Supreme Lord is also everywhere. This mysterious position has to be understood by highly advanced devotees. There are three kinds of devotees: the neophyte devotee, the intermediate devotee, and the advanced devotee. The neophyte devotee does not understand the techniques of devotional science, but simply offers devotional service to the deity in the temple. The intermediate devotee understands who God is, who is a devotee, who is a non-devotee, and who is innocent. And he deals with such persons differently. But a person who sees that the Lord is sitting as Paramatma in everyone's heart, and that everything is depending or existing on the transcendental energy of the Supreme Lord, is in the highest devotional position. So, yeah, we were saying yesterday, like, in terms of the different devotees, it's interesting. Normally, sometimes, maybe a lot of times in the morning in the temple when the class is going on and everyone's looking one way at the speaker, someone may come in the middle of it and decide, but I've come to take darshan of the deities, So then they step over the Matajis who are sitting nearest to Prabhupada.
First thing they do is ring the bell really loud.
God,
ding,
yeah.
ding, 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 right in the middle of Bhagavatam class.
Because Krishna's got, now I'm here. And then they'd pay obeisance to Prabhupada, which is okay, that's nice, but you don't need to do full dandavat, so your legs, kick everyone else out of the way, which is often what would happen. And then they'll walk across in front of the... I hope I'm not offending anyone if this is you, by the way, but you never know. Then they walk across in front of the speaker to the other side. Oh my God!
Maybe that was maybe that was like some sort of karmic reaction that, this one said, "Here, I'm going to run across the middle of the speakers here and make some noise."
Yeah, very inappropriate of the swan to do that.
Yeah,
that was an example, quite frankly.
Naughty swan.
Now it's wiggling its bum if you can see it. It's very naughty. Anyway, the point I was making is that, that's like what he's saying here, beginner, or how does he call it? A neophyte devotee. Where there's no understanding, but like Prabhupada says, if you love me, you love my dog. So if you love me, if you're really thinking, oh, Krishna or Radha and Anisha or whatever, then you'll think, oh, these devotees are here, oh, I don't want to bother them, oh, there's a class going on, okay, I'll come in quietly, as discreetly as possible, and I'll just maybe make it a point to come where the class hasn't started, something or whatever. We would think like that, and then maybe the higher devotee would be like, well, let me sit with these Vaishnavas, what is going on here?
Let me hear.
Yeah. But
instead sometimes devotees will say to the management, why don't you hold the class in another room, and so that you don't interrupt my darshan of the deities. So the mentality is it's between me and Krishna, like that. So Hare Krishna.
Which is, as Prabhupada explains, that's not how it is at all in the spiritual world. Exactly. Krishna is surrounded by his devotees, and that's actually the harder thing. To be Krishna conscious, I would say, is easier, if I can put that out there. Is easy to be Krishna conscious, but to be interact with devotees and with dealing with your stuff and their stuff and just getting on, that's harder.
Yeah, that's a challenge.
And that's the lesson.
Yeah, and that's the real lesson we have to learn.
Because it is easier, in comparison, I'm just saying, I'm not saying it's easier to be Krishna conscious than it is just to be like, oh God, that person gets on my nerves, oh, you're so slow, and what did you just say? I'm just pretending, by the way.
Yeah. Okay, text 47.
All right then.
And that's mine, I'm going to read. Freed from all hatred and desire, Kardama Muni, being equal to everyone because of discharging uncontaminated devotional service, ultimately attained the path back to Godhead. Purport. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, only by devotional service can one understand the transcendental nature of the Supreme Lord, and after understanding him perfectly in his transcendental position, enter into the kingdom of God. The process of entering into the kingdom of God is Tripada Bhuti Gati, or the path back home, back to Godhead, by which one can attain the ultimate goal of life. Kardama Muni, by his perfect devotional knowledge and service, achieved this ultimate goal, which is known as Bhagavati Gatihi. So very nice word and name, potential name for someone, Bhagavati Gati. Prabhupada translates it in the word for word as the destination of the devotee, and then in parentheses, going back home, back to Godhead. Very nice.
Yeah, it's nice.
So Bhagavati Gati. And
Tripad.
We can see here that, and Tripad Bhuti Gati. I mean, Tripad usually refers to 3 steps. Tri, 3, and pada means feet or steps. So 3 steps, which usually refers to Lord Vamanadev. But
thank you.
3 steps. So, but in this situation, we see Tripad Bhuti Gati. Again, in the that's not translated in the first, but Bhuta Gati. Yeah, we'll have to. Gati obviously means like destination, like that. I have to check that one out. But what I was going to say is that we see here the Kardama Muni, he went back home, back to Godhead, even though he kind of left and went off and performed his own private, silent bhajan, but he attained the supreme goal, his supreme destination.
And why did he do that?
Why did he do what?
how did, so the point you said he left and he did his own thing and this and that, but he went back. So for me, there's one reason why he attained that, and that's because he simply followed the instructions of the senior devotee. He was instructed, wasn't he? Mm-hmm. Do like this, and to this family I'll do this, that, and he followed it. And you could say it wasn't in his inclination or nature as such. He was happily in his bhajan kutir.
In the beginning he wasn't so happily in his bhajan kutir. He performed austerity for a long time, but then he said to the Lord who appeared before him, I'm not happy, I want a wife.
Just all right, ignore what I just said.
I mean,
okay, he followed the instructions of the senior devotee, and thus he went back to Godhead. And the sun has risen, and now it's gone.
And on that note, we'll conclude here. Thank you all very much.
Yeah.
Please read the Srimad Bhagavatam. Next time we'll be starting
new chapter.
A new chapter, because I didn't say that, did I? Thus in the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 3rd canto, 24th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Renunciation of Kardama.
What's the new chapter called?
New chapter, chapter 25. Drum roll, please.
Everyone's looking at us.
The glories of devotional service. So Kardama Muni will likely start to speak here soon.
Oh, I thought he's gone.
No, not Kardama Muni. Kapila Dev.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.